What's up, guys? Storyverse89 here, and today we're back with another Kerbal episode. I know it's been a while, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but my VAB is in the floor. I don't know what happened here, but I reloaded a save after a little problem with the actual save itself, and I am now underground. Hopefully it doesn't impede anything with our launches, but I don't know for sure. We're about to test the Bumblebee 4. Today's mission is basically to launch this rocket, put a couple of relay satellites in orbit for later, because I will be visiting the moon rather soon. In fact, I think the next mission after this will probably be a flyby contract. So we'll see what happens, but the Bumblebee is just built. Okay, I guess everything's out of the floor again. The Bumblebee is just built to get us into orbit, launch a couple of satellites, uh, high orbit, and then it's set up. So I'm gonna skip this, and I'll teach you guys. And welcome to orbit, guys. We have made it. And we're going to say bye to that first stage because, guys, it is time to do the fancy part of this, which is boosting our orbit. We're going to come around. Sorry, but we're going to have to do another orbital turn because we weren't quite positioned yet, and it needs to be relatively perfect to pull it off. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. You can usually be off by a little bit. But it's always nice to be on point when launching relay networks. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, if you're new to Kerbal, what is a relay network? Well, a relay network is a series of satellites that are set up to provide an elongated connection to distant probes that may not have full connection strength back to the KSC, aka our Space Launch Site, and require a little bit of help. So basically, it's assistant messenger satellites, built to help boost signals of weaker satellites, possibly going interplanetary or even just in the local Kerbin system. But, as you see, we have gotten the first section of this. Now, this requires a little bit of a finesse. You have to flip around, burn into a main orbit, flip around again, and then lower your orbit once more. CCA, lift it a little bit. Shouldn't throw us off too much, but should be alright. Now you gotta lower it back to whatever orbit we were in, which is, I think, about 130. You want to try and remember what orbit you were in, just so you can make sure to fix it. Or, put your other satellite into space. So you can see our booster kind of just spinning over there. I don't know what it's doing. But there's our first satellite in orbit. We have 2 more to go, and then this launch is over. So I'm just going to speed through this, and I'll meet you guys in the next part of our launch. And welcome back to the final part of this mission, the recovery stage. So basically, that was all this rocket had to do, and now it has to be recovered from orbit. Unfortunately, due to its extremely high orbit, this is going to be a bit of a rough re-entry, and I don't actually know if this stage is equipped to survive such a re-entry. We will hope for the best, but I don't know about this rocket. It just doesn't seem to be in the cards that this was going to go very well, but we'll see what happens. We will see. Obviously, this rocket is built to launch payloads. Now it is going to recover the stage because our actual main contract we came up here for was the return from Kerbin Orbit contract. So now it's time for us to return from Kerbin Orbit. And also slow down like crazy, because we are about to hit the atmosphere at extremely high speeds, which is usually not good for probes that are not really built to recover, that are not really built to withstand such high temperatures. Luckily for us, we have plenty of fuel left in the tank, and can just burn a couple of times, but it looks like we have run out. That's not bad, because we can slow down pretty easily, but it's always better to empty the tank before actually reaching the ground. So we could just take this off of SAS. And SAS is stability assist, so you don't actually need to constantly mess with the throttling of it. But as you can see here, our booster has successfully deployed parachute, and hopefully it will not immediately cut the second we hit the water, with hopes it will kind of slow us to a good descent. So I'll do a little bit more of the time warp while we wait for this thing to, again, finish its rocket section. After an extremely long descent, we have finally touched down in the waters of Kerbin. Finally recovering it, getting us some science, and finishing us that contract. Now, there wasn't really any science to be done, I guess, but it's always nice to get a little bit of that contract money, because I'm going to need it for the coming days. Especially since I'm going to have to upgrade both my tracking station and the mission control, which leaves me at $154,000, which is not much money. Luckily, that still leaves me the ability to launch most missions. So now we gotta fly by and gather scientific data from the Mun. And we already had a probe ready to do that. That's right, I already had a rocket ready. And we're gonna test it out. Now, unfortunately, due to the limited part count that I get, I'm going to have to remove 4 parts. And honestly, I think this inner stage is more of an eyesore. We already have antennas, so we don't really need that, or that. So we're going to get us a better inner stage, and a very small one at that. We're going to give us a nice small solid fuel booster, of course, to slow us down. See how that does. Yep, that looks good. That means we can give it fins, because the last time I launched this was not in any of the videos. I was just testing out this rocket, and it kind of started spinning. So, with the reduced part count, I actually could add a few more things. So, I'm going to add 2 solar batteries. Yep, I'm going to add 2 solar batteries to just get me that little extra oomph in electric charge. There we go, that looks good. I don't know how much it's actually going to produce, but it would actually be good to have extra charge. We have these solar panels anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think that's probably fine. We could give it, is there one more antenna we could put on there? Yeah, just for funsies, why not? We'll add an extra low gain antenna. Actually, do we need a higher? We might need a high gain antenna actually, because we're going to be crashing into the moon. Oh, what is the bandwidth on this? Okay, no, that actually should be fine. Both of them have pretty fair bandwidth, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's kind of sticking out of the bearing. That slightly off center. Love a good asymmetrical probe. Alright, that should do it for the Burke one. I already designed the Burke off camera again. Both the Bumblebee 4 and the Burke 1 were designed not in a video. I was going to release an earlier video on Saturday, but it didn't work out. So this is my attempt at launching. Again, sorry for being so late on my Kerbal videos. I know I was kind of focused on Lethal Company for a while, but that's only because I only have a select amount of window to work with my friends on these videos. We will be getting to another collab tomorrow, though. That'll be interesting. That's right, a new person joins the fray of our duo that now becomes a trio. Although I don't know if he'll be showing up quite as often as Pathfinder. But we will see him again, probably every week, if possible. But for right now, let's focus on the launch. So I will see you guys in orbit. We're back. Here's the Burke 1 in all its glory, preparing to take off to the moon, but there are a few things we need to do first. And that, namely, is collect science. I need to collect lots and lots of science, because obviously we need some data. So as we can see here, we used up quite a bit of that. Should be fine now, but now we have to plan our maneuver to the Mun. So basically, I forgot to do an explanation of this rocket, but basically it is a suicide burning probe that will impact the Mun. What I mean by suicide burns is it's going to use that last solid fuel kick stage to slow itself down enough to have enough time to transmit the data it collects. So basically, so you don't run out of time to transmit and then just die. So it gives us like a little bit more time to see what's going on the moon surface, or not the moon, the Mun, before dying. But obviously, that's the point of this probe. It's supposed to die. It's not intended to live. So we're going to basically uh, straight shoot it into the surface of the Mun and transmit the data before we blow up. No biggie, right? Yeah. Hopefully the solid fuel kick stage actually works for us. I don't use solid fuel in this game as much as I probably should, considering that there are so many solid fuel stages that you can add in this. Basically the difference between solid fuel and liquid fuel engines, because this is liquid fuel and that one's solid fuel, is that you can't throttle them. So once it's burning, and once solid fuel's burning, it's burning, and there's nothing you can do about it until it burns out of fuel. While for liquid fuel, you can turn it on and off to gauge your orbits. So I'm not smart enough to plan my maneuvers ahead of time for solid fuel, but I use a lot of liquid fuel, and usually only solid fuel for like emergency suicide burns or a very, very tiny kick. So looks to have turned out pretty well. That's a good orbit. We are going to face it back at the... I'm just going to separate this now. I forgot that the Burke is supposed to separate. Wow, that was a big kick. Oh, whoops. Trying to get this thing away. Maybe I can land it near a crater. I should be able to graze a crater with this orbit. There we go. That should get us a nice little crater encounter. And here's the Burke in all its glory. A small but very, very helpful probe, considering we're going to be visiting the Mun for the first time in this save. Now again, it's a flyby, so it doesn't have to survive. It's just an impactor, nothing special about it. I know you might think this is a bit expensive for an impactor. It would feel weird to waste such money on this rocket, but it's actually a good idea, because an impactor can get close to the surface, and you don't have to spend much money on impactors. They're basically just probe cores with usually a single antenna and maybe one science experiment. But here we are, we have made it to the Mun. Look at that. I don't know which crater we're going to be landing. Oh, we're not going to be landing in any craters. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there, but, you know, kind of crashed. Anyway, we haven't really lost much time on this launch. But we are getting close to the Mun now, which means we're going to finish up our last little bit of science that we need. We need to get a bit closer before we can do close orbit science, and we are going to start that suicide burn relatively soon. And we're going to start it right about now. Actually, I'm going to wait a little longer. Can I take close orbit science? Okay. Close orbit science. Hold on, I need to test something real quick. Can I actually slow to a full stop? No, I can't. Whoa, what's happening there? Shaking. Well, I guess that's really it. Rip the, Burke. This was a good mission, but, seems like it's reaching the end. I have run out of fuel to stop my suicidal descent. I have no other science to do. I mean, I'm basically out. I'm just gonna put this thing in hibernation, and we'll have a moment of silence for the Burke. And this has been a moment of silence. Anyway, let's go back to the Space Center. After that success of the Burke, we got 119 science, which means we can upgrade. Get the survivability, flight control, and enhanced survivability. Unfortunately, the Titan parts are still out of our reach. It means we're going to have to do a little bit more science before we can get any of those. So let's go to here and see what we got. A rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit of Kerbin and dock 2 vessels around Kerbin. That's not helpful, considering that, you know, I kinda can't do that because I don't have Titan parts yet. I guess I could do like a Mercury mock-up mission of it, but I don't feel like we need to do that. I feel like we're going to just do a long-range Kerbin local system mission. I guess I could go interplanetary at this point, but I would rather not do it immediately. Do you guys have any extensions? Alright, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to fly some dudes out to distant parts of the system, and that means we're going to send out a little dog. Okay, yes, actually I'm not joking, there is an animal inside of this vessel. There is a science experiment that you can get that's literally an animal. That is literally an animal. I'm not kidding. It is an animal. So we are going to be doing animal testing, which I'm sure is totally legal in this day and age. I mean, it's supposed to be like the 50s or something, right? So I'm sure it's cool. We're going to be launching this very small camera, this very small system, which is going to be carrying a little guy. We're going to call him, what should we call him? Call him Jerry. Jerry the Duck. Actually, no. You know what? Let's just call him something generic. Let's call him Sparky. Yeah. I know I'm not the most creative with naming, so we'll just call him Sparky. This isn't, well, I mean, this is gonna basically be the Russian missions, because I'm not gonna come back for this dude. Yeah, unfortunately, the dog here is not gonna be coming back anytime soon. If at all. I know, sad times for the dog, but, like, we got other things to do. Other things to do with our life, so we gotta just get him out there. So here we are with the dog's containment unit. Old Sparky. He's gonna go out there to probably Minmus. I was thinking maybe going to a different planet, or moon. But I thought just Titana maybe, because I haven't actually shown that place yet. It's Minmus, Titana, or the Mun, and I think I'll go for Titana. Of course, we need some science and a little bit of data feedback, because we need to know what's going on with Sparky while he's in orbit. Checking out, you know, checking out all the places. So, we're going to need to bring quite a few science experiments, actually. And, of course, that slightly built-in large fuel tank that you see on the actual mission, the kind of, like, canister-looking effect of the actual vehicle itself. So, here we go. We got this. That looks semi like the Sputnik. I'm kind of going for a Sputnik look. Sputnik 2, obviously. Sputnik 1 did not carry a dog. I guess that's it for top mount. We need a little light to look like a window. Guess not. Well, you know what? We're gonna attach it to this. Not. Let me attach you anywhere. I can't attach it anywhere, apparently. I don't know what's going on there. We're gonna attach it there. We need some kind of... It's supposed to be on the capsule, but it's not allowing me to put it anywhere. Maybe pull this off first. Didn't even realize there was cameras in